guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I would do a 6-month update on my eyebrows. It was about 6 months ago that I got my microblading done. I had microblading and shading done to my brows, and in case you missed those videos, so I vlogged that whole experience. I will link any and all microblading experience videos down below. But if you're new to my channel, before I had my eyebrows microbladed, I had maybe 8 eyebrow hairs. I could literally count the amount of eyebrows I had on both of my hands. We don't know why I had such dramatic hair loss. I actually came to the conclusion that if I was going to have eyebrows, the most permanent or semi-permanent solution was going to be microblading. So I went to a place in Brooklyn, New York, had my eyebrows microbladed, and I will leave a link to that studio down below that I used. A woman named Anna did them. I think she did a really amazing job. But let's talk about how they are 6 months later. I'm going to come really close to the camera so you can see I have no makeup on my eyebrows. The only makeup I have on right now is concealer, a little bit of powder to set it, and some bronzer. So you might see that, but I have no makeup on my actual eyebrows. Okay, this is really close, but I wanted to give you a good look. So this is my right eyebrow. And like I said before, I didn't have pretty well any eyebrow hairs to start, and I pretty well don't have any left over now. What you're seeing is predominantly the microblading and the shading. Now the shading sort of fills in and makes your eyebrows look a little more dense, gives them a little bit more dimension, which is a really great option if you don't have eyebrow hairs. But you can see the microblading are those like fine definitive strokes. 6 months later, you can definitely see some sparse areas. There's definitely some patchiness there, not quite as much as I would have expected, to be honest. There's definitely some fading too. You can see some fading here, fading up here, the splotchiness there, and here too. There's a couple spots that have faded over time, but that's my right eyebrow. Now moving over to my left eyebrow. My left eyebrow is a little more filled in than my right currently, I think, at least. The front is definitely quite splotchy. So you can see in the front there's definitely some splotchiness that wasn't there when I immediately got them done. You can see like a couple of eyebrow hairs that are mine down here, but a little bit of patchiness there. But the tails have kept their shape and their color really, really nicely, which I've appreciated. But yeah, you can definitely see a bit of color loss there, definitely here. And then back to this one. This one is definitely a bit more splotchy. So right here at the beginning, you see where the places where the shading has faded a lot. The brows up close after 6 months. I think for 6 months, that's actually pretty good, especially since I didn't have any real eyebrows to start. I think if you have eyebrows, a decent amount of eyebrow hairs, and you're getting microblading and shading to just like sort of enhance your shape and enhance the presence of your eyebrows, splotchiness and the fading won't look as apparent as it does on my eyebrows. Being that the microblading and shading is all I had on the skin, you can see the fading a little bit more. It doesn't bother me. I don't think it's gotten to the point quite yet where I can't go out in public without filling them in. To be quite honest with you, the amount of I maybe wear makeup twice a week, 2, maybe 3 times. And when I do my makeup now, I do fill them in. So I'll use an Anastasia Beverly Hills brow definer, and I'll just quickly go over. I mean, the amount of time I have to spend on my brows now compared to when I had to like freehand them on my face, 1000% has made the microblading and shading totally worth it. Question that I've got a lot since I had microblading was how often do you have to go for touch-ups? That's a personal preference, but they do recommend that you go, I think it's once a year. They recommend about 10 to 12 months after your procedure going back and getting a bit of a touch-up. And I think that's what I'll end up doing. So I kind of want to let the summer go by. Also being sure to put on a lot of SPF on your brows, because just like with tattoos, the sun will fade the pigment. And I've tried to be really diligent with that. that as we like make our way into the summer. But I figured I would let the summer go by, and then come maybe October or November, I'll go in and get a touch up, because that'll be around the year mark. And I think if I have that little bit of shading happening now, it'll look even more prominent come the fall time. Yeah, I also get the question a lot, like, is it worth it? Looking back, I've had them microbladed for 6 months, especially compared to not having any eyebrows beforehand. And again, like I said, having to freehand them. Microblading was one of the best decisions I ever made. And it was something that I kept putting off. I just felt like it was a little bit indulgent and wasn't really necessary. And I guess I didn't realize how much of an impact it was gonna make on my self-confidence, just like timing wise too. I don't have to spend like I spend barely maybe 5 minutes on my makeup every day, and I have a son who's 15 months old, so spending more than 5 minutes a day on my makeup is like nearly impossible. So I couldn't recommend something more if your eyebrows are a cause for concern for your self-confidence, or if you don't have eyebrows like me. Microblading was like the best decision ever. Okay guys, if you have any other questions regarding microblading and shading, definitely leave them down in the comments below. Like I said, shading is just another technique that eyebrow technicians use to create dimension, create depth and fullness. And I really loved it, and I loved the result, the microblading and the shading mixed together. So yeah, that's my brows 6 months later. I'm gonna go fill these bad boys in a little bit, and I will see you in my next one. Bye guys.